Okay, let's continue with section 1.5, types of variables. So we saw, for example, in this spreadsheet, we saw here's a variable, here's a variable, here's a variable, and we can keep going over all of these. Okay, so these are all variables. Now, actually, these are all of the same type. What I mean by that is these are all what we call numeric variables or quantitative variables. They're numbers. They're dollar amounts, but they're numbers. Okay? So we're going to talk about different kinds of variables. One of them is this type, quantitative or numeric variables. So quantitative variables, that's one type. Okay, and you see here. And we divide quantitative variables into two types. We have discrete quantitative variables and what are called continuous, and we'll see what that means in a minute. It's not complicated. And then we have another type of variable called qualitative variables. So let's look at this picture because this shows you. So we have variables in general, and we have two types, quantitative and qualitative. And we saw, for example, quantitative in the spreadsheet I just showed you. They were numbers, right? They were like dollar amounts, right? So those are numbers. And they are, but over here, you know, I might ask people what their gender is. That's not a number, right? But we can still say that's a variable, right? Their gender can be a variable. Or I might say, what's your favorite color? And, you know, one person will say red, another person blue, and pink, and green, and purple, and so on. So that's a variable, your favorite color. That's definitely not a number, though, right? What's the make of the computer? So you might have different aspects. You might have a spreadsheet like this where it's not cities, but like these are different computers, and this might be the make of the computer, right? And this might be like whatever, I don't know, Biale, right? And the make of the computer would then be Sony, right? And then you'd have another computer that was IBM, and another computer that was another one that was Dell, and so on, right? So this would be the make of the computer, and these would not be numbers. This would be Sony, Dell, IBM, whatever else we have, Toshiba, and so on. What are the other ones? Acer, Asus, right? Like that. So that's not a number, but that's still a variable, right? Associated with, you might have, this might be the name of the computer. I mean, sorry, yeah, the name of the computer. This might be the make of the computer. This might be the processor speed. So that could be a number. Processor speed. Oops. So that could be a number. So you might have Sony here and then a number here and Vaio here, right? So you could have different, lots of different stuff here. You could have the color of the computer. Maybe this one's black and another one's white and another one's green and whatever. So you could have some variables are numeric and some variables are not numeric, right? So we can have quantitative and qualitative. They're also called categorical because they're categories like colors. The category is red or green or blue, different categories, different colors. So you can have the make of the computer, the opinions of people. You know, do you like this or do you not like it? Yes, I like it. No, I don't like it. Gender, male, female, right? Okay, so we have variables in general, then we have quantitative and qualitative. And in quantitative, we're going to divide them up as either discrete or continuous. So the examples of discrete are like number of houses, number of cars, number of accidents. So if you see these, number of houses, you don't say 1.5 houses usually. You say 2 houses or 3 houses or 5 houses. You don't say 2.5 cars usually. You say 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 0 cars, but you don't say 1.444444 cars, right? On the other hand, if you're talking about length, you can say 1 centimeter, you can say 1.5 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters, you can say 1.55 centimeters, you can say 1.55555 centimeters, right? So that's kind of different than this type. So these are called discrete, and here's another age, right? You can, how old are you? I'm 19.5 years old. I'm 19.55 years old. I'm 19.5555. You can say that. Maybe a little bit weird to say it, but you could say it. Okay? So length, age, height. You can also do that with height. You can also do that with weight. You can also do that with time. How long did you have to wait for the bus? I had to wait 92 seconds. No, I had to wait 92.5 seconds. No, I had to wait 92.55 seconds. You could do that. Of course, again, it would be weird, but you could do it. But with these types of what should I say? I don't know what these are called. Anyway, with these types of considerations, you can break it down, like I said, 9.5, 9.55, 9.5. Those types are called continuous. When you can't break it down, those are called discrete. Okay, so once more. Quantitative, qualitative, not numbers. Within the numbers, we have discrete type numbers and continuous types. Okay, let's read his descriptions here, but that's basically it. You can go through and read this, but you should read it. But quantitative, a variable that can be measured numerically is called quantitative. The data collected on a quantitative variable called quantitative data. Discrete, a variable whose values are countable is called discrete. So, like we said, basically countable. It's not exactly doesn't have to be whole numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, but basically it's like that. Anyway, that's good. Countable, that they're countable. A discrete variable can assume only values with no intermediate values. So there's a certain we say there's a certain space between a minimal distance between any two values. So here, for example, the number of cars sold on any day, there's a minimal distance between any two possible values for number of cars. What I mean is, number of cars can only be 0, 1, 2. So the minimal distance, what's the distance between this one and this one? The distance is 3. But that's not the minimal distance, right? You could have two numbers in here that are smaller distance. What's the distance between 1? I hope I didn't say minimal distance. What's the distance between 1 and 3? It's 2, right? But even you can still have smaller than that. But what's the distance, say, between 1 and 2? The distance is 1. And if you look at any of these, they're never going to be closer than 1 unit apart. So there's a minimal distance between any two possible values for the number of cars. Whereas, if you talk about continuous variables, for example, time taken to complete an examination, there is no minimal distance. Like, maybe it took you 1,020 seconds, but it could have taken you 1,020.1 seconds. So the distance between those two is 0.1. But it could have taken you 1,020.01. So then the distance was whatever. Anyway, you can see that there's no minimal distance. Okay, so that means that variable time, in this case time taken to complete the examination, since there's no minimal distance between possible values of time, that's called a continuous variable. Okay, please read this and make sure you understand it. Qualitative and or categorical, we said it before. A variable that cannot assume a numeric value but can be classified into two or more non-numeric categories is a qualitative or categorical variable. The data collected on such variables are called qualitative data. For example, the status of an undergraduate student is a qualitative variable because a student can fall into any one of 4 categories. We can call them first year or freshman, whatever you want to call it. You can call it second year or sophomore, junior or senior. Now, if you call it 1, 2, 3, 4, you might say it's numeric. But anyway, if we do it like this, it seems clearly categorical. Okay, other examples of categorical or qualitative variables are the gender, male or female, the brand of a computer, the opinions of people, the make of a car. Okay, and so we have this picture here. Okay, go through these questions, explain the meaning of the following terms: qualitative, quantitative, discrete, indicate which of the following variables are quantitative and which are qualitative. Let's just do one of them. Number of persons in a family. Is that qualitative or quantitative? Number of persons is obviously quantitative. Colors of a car, I'll let you do that one, and you can check the answers. Okay, so let's stop here.